What's up, fish tankers? Frontline Fish Tanks here, and today's video is going to be about one of the most common and colorful fish in the aquarium trade, the guppy. So let's get started. Now for guppies, let's start with basic care. I would say the minimum tank size is 2.5 gallons. Temperature 78 degrees. I have found that's the best for breeding, raising fry, and just general community tank standards. So I found 78 degrees to be the best, but you can obviously, you don't have to have it 78. You can go cold water, such as like 60s, maybe 50s, but I don't know if it's going to have a house that's 50 degrees, to be honest. But or you can go as high as the 85. That's really high, to be honest. I wouldn't even do that. So now the pH. Anywhere from 5.5 to 8. They can go a wide range. They're some of the hardiest fish in the hobby, which also concludes they're great for beginners. So yeah, I think I pretty much covered the basic care. So now let's move on to feeding. Guppies are omnivores, meaning they'll eat both animal matter and plant matter. So for a general diet, I recommend some standard flakes like natural protein omega-1, and supplement it with some cucumbers or some tropical veggie flakes, or even live food such as the baby brine shrimp or bloodworms, or freeze-dried food such as freeze-dried baby brine shrimp or bloodworms. They're not picky, so just a basic staple flake diet should be fine. They really will eat about anything you throw in there for them, so feeding is a pretty simple task. Now let's move on to sexing guppies and breeding them. Breeding guppies is a pretty easy task. It's a great fish to start out with if you want to start breeding fish. So the first thing you need to know if you're going to breed guppies is how to tell the males and the females apart. It's pretty straightforward. So as you can see, these are my two females, one right there, one there. They are pretty drably colored, and their anal fin is fanned out. It's hard to see in this lighting in this tank, so, but they have a fanned out anal fin. And our male over here, he's a lot better colored, and he has a pointed anal fin. And the females are usually larger than the males, so there's another bonus way to tell. And how are you going to tell if a guppy is pregnant? Well, this female right here, see that dark spot on it right there, kind of in front of her anal fin there? That is what they call the gravid spot. Guppies will start developing this after they have got impregnated by a male, and it can last a long time. They can hold their babies for like 6 months, and right before they're about to give birth, they'll get all squared up, boxy looking, and that gravid spot will be huge. So that's how you tell when the guppy is ready to give birth or is going to give birth soon. So that's when you move it to your birthing tank, your breeder box, or just leave it in there if you're not planning on saving the fry. So now let's move on to raising the fry. Baby fish, otherwise known as fry, are very sensitive in their water parameters, and you have to feed them often. But guppies, you still have to feed them often. You still have to keep their water clean. But they come out pretty much fully ready for action. Like, they're pretty much just like miniature adult guppies when they come out. So you can feed them crushed up flake food or bloodworms or whatever, live baby brine shrimp, freeze-dried baby brine shrimp, or some Akari first bites. This is a good example of like powdered flake food for fry. It's shown great growth in these guys. This is mainly what I've fed them, along with some bloodworm flake and a few other supplements like vegetables every once in a while, stuff like that. So this Akari first bites as a staple has shown some extremely good results. You're going to have to do water changes at least 50% weekly. The more the better. And for filters, you have to use these sponge filters. Normal power filters will suck up the fry. So you want to use sponge filters because There is no big hole so they can get sucked in. The sponge is where everything goes in, so they can't get sucked up in the sponge. And every time you do a water change, vacuum the gravel. Or not the gravel. Maybe you do have gravel in your fry tank. But vacuum the bottom. I recommend bare bottom because it's easier to clean. Vacuum all this leftover food and poop and such. Just get it out of there before it starts producing ammonia. And that'll give your tank less nitrates overall. It'll result in faster growing, healthier fry. So also clean out your sponge filters weekly. Take the sponge out, squeeze it, twist it in your old tank water. That'll get most of the stuff out. So just clean the tank weekly. Keep it at 78 degrees. You can see there's my heater going. Clean the filters weekly too. And feed the fry often, like 4 times a day. So fry keeping really isn't that hard. I would say a 10-gallon minimum for most fry, just so you give them space to grow. Because in here there's probably 20-some fry, maybe 30. So these are all going to be 30 big guppies one day. So I'll start selling them when they're young, if you don't want to have a big tank to hold them in for the rest of their adult lives. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start selling them at about an inch. So yeah, it's basic fry care right there. Maybe some plants will help keep the nitrates down also. Alright. Now let's move on to the next subject. Overall, guppies are great fish for beginners or experienced hobbyists alike. They are colorful, easy to raise, and in general hardy. So whether you are raising fry or keeping them in your community tank, guppies are just a great fish. So I would recommend them to pretty much anybody. Alright, this has been a fish care guide by Fort Wayne Fish Tanks. And I am signing out. Good luck with your guppies, folks.